All right, guys, welcome back to WCS Europe Season 3. We have our winner on the line, Mr. Mouse Vortex. How are you doing, man?
No, fine, thanks.
It's third time in a row now. We've had conversations with you Season 1, 2, and 3 now. So congratulations on making it to the round of 16 again.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, going into this group, I have to kind of just come to this question very quickly. Did you anticipate this group being as... it looked pretty easy for you. Did you anticipate it being this way?
Well, I knew that I could win Showtime and Noname probably. Like, if I play my best, I shouldn't have many problems. And I knew that MVP was playing from Korea, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, I thought I could finish first if I played my best. But anyways, I didn't want to like underrate Showtime and Noname because I know they are very good players, and in ladder they play very good games and they can always take games of you. So yeah, I mean, I was confident, but I didn't want to go like, oh, I'm gonna win 4-0 easy. So yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, but I guess not such a big one.
So you played some really good games today, by the way. I don't know if you realize or acknowledge it, but I think you played some really, really good StarCraft today. You are starting school again soon?
Yeah, next week.
Next week. So so next week, and the round of 16's in a couple of weeks.
I'm gonna try to focus more on gaming. Like, I'm not gonna be the all days of the week in the university. I will only have to go 3, and I'm gonna try to focus a bit more on gaming, even though I'm gonna keep studying.
Do you think it may affect your performance? Because right now, I guess you're at the peak performance when it comes to being able to practice all summer long. Do you expect your performance to go down in the round of 16, or can you keep it at the same level?
No, I think I will keep it the same level. Like in Wings of Liberty, it was the same. Like I was starting, but I managed to keep my level. It was just at the beginning of Head of the Swarm. I was starting a lot, and then, you know, new strategies, new units, and so on, and I didn't really know what I had to do. But yeah, right now I already know the strategies and so on, and I think I can keep my level by just practicing, I don't know, 3-4 hours a day.
Going into the second series today, were you anticipating to play against MVP? You said that you knew he was playing from Korea, but were you always anticipating playing against MVP, or did you think that Showtime actually could take that series?
Actually, I knew that Showtime had like a very, very strong PvT, so it wasn't such a big surprise. Like if it was on Europe or MVP didn't have so many ping, then I would be like, well, probably MVP will win, even though, well, upsets can happen.
Yeah.
But since MVP was playing Korea and I know Showtime is pretty good versus Terran, I was like, yeah, he can actually win. But, well, of course, I can say I didn't think MVP would advance, but it wasn't such a big surprise.
We're just going back onto your performances. Do you feel right now that you have many weaknesses? It's a long way away until you can play your next game, but do you feel weak in any areas in your game at the moment? Or are you just kind of all-round feeling great?
Actually, I don't know why. I used to play very good CVT like a month ago or so when the last season happened. And I don't know why it's been getting worse and worse. And right now I think CVT is my worst matchup. I wouldn't say it's like very bad for me. Like I'm more or less the same in the 3 matches. But yeah, I don't know why. I'm getting a bit worse in CVT. I think I have like maybe between 70 and 80% win ratio in every matchup. And then versus Terran I have 50 or something. So I don't know why. I have to work on that a lot, but I wouldn't say that I'm very bad versus Terran. It's just a bit weaker than my other matches.
Any other questions, Sean?
Yeah, so before the round of 16 happens, I mean, we're not going to find out the groups until the 18th of September, which is you know, quite a way away now, so it's a couple of weeks away.
Yep.
Are you just going to randomly play ladder, just focus on overall improvement? And the second question to follow this up, when you find out your group, do you focus very specifically on the players that will be in there?
Well, until I know the groups, I will just play ladder because it doesn't make sense to prepare for certain matchups. But once I know the groups, I guess I will just like not try to study my opponents because sometimes that is a bit tricky because everyone changed their style for tournaments. But yeah, I guess I will try to focus more on certain matchups and so on when I know which race I'm playing. But yeah, I don't think it will change much after I know the groups.
All right, one final question. I'm just going back to Season 2. In Season 2, you had, when it comes to practice, a bit of an easier way to prepare because you only had to play against Protoss players. If you were to go into the round of 16 with, you know, 3 players of different races, could that be troublesome for you, or it doesn't matter?
No, actually, it's very good for me. Like in the last season, in one hand, it was good that I did only had to prepare for Protoss. But on the other hand, you know, after you play like 6 games versus Protoss players, they already know your style a lot. And I was like blind countered a lot in my last games of last season. So I think it's better to play versus different races, and especially for me, because right now, as I said, maybe my CVT is a bit weaker, but I don't feel that weak in the other matchup. So, yeah.
All right then. Well, Mr. Vortex, any last words, any shout-outs that you would like to give?
Well, I guess just I would like to thank everyone for supporting me, and of course, Mouse Sports, BenQ, Gel, XMG, Resonant, and Vortex. That's it. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thanks very much, Vortex, and we'll see you at the round of 16.
Yeah, see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty. So that indeed was Vortex, looking very impressive during today. Scary, scary man.
I think that
indeed.
was some of the best games I mean, he wasn't playing probably opponents that were on his level, but he just played some of the best StarCraft. Like, he didn't make mistakes today. It was very clean. And I think when I asked him the question, did he realize he played as well as he showed, he kind of chuckled a little bit, because I think he kind of knew that, because he did play some superb StarCraft. And if he's able to maintain, the key word from that interview, his level going into the round of 16, then things could be absolutely spectacular for him if he was able to get a good group.
Yeah, certainly could be here. But now we have to determine who is going to be second advancing on into the round of 16. And we're going to find that out, firstly, by eliminating one of those 3 names. Is it going to be Noname, or is it going to be the upset of the century in the form of MVP going out first?
This is absolutely insane. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, what happens if the Russian beats the Korean here? I mean, it's crazy to think about it.
Yeah.
Because it is a giant and then a little guy next to him when it comes to achievements in StarCraft 2, when it comes to prize money in StarCraft 2, when it comes to the weight behind the name. I mean, it's MVP versus Noname. So it's a major, major contrast in the 2 players that we have going up against each other. And I think a lot of punters are basically saying that this is MVP's game to win.
Yes.
But what happens if it isn't?
Well, I think that we saw Noname struggle a little bit, maybe with the nerves before against his opponent, and now going up against MVP, that could come to fruition here again. It's MVP. It's bloody MVP. So, well, Noname.
No idea what to expect from Noname.
I have no idea either.
In this matchup.
An MVP has already shown time and time again how good he is at TVT. He pushed Innovation to the very limits. Again, arguably Innovation's worst matchup, but still, it's Innovation. So, guys, let's jump into game number 1 to determine who is going to advance on to play against Showtime. Is it going to be this man as he spawns down to the bottom left-hand corner, representing Incredible Miracle and Korea? It is MVP. And up to the top corner here as our red Terran, representing 3D Clan and Russia, it is Noname.
Let's find out what the Russian can do here. If we, you know, think about the Russian scene, it's a strong scene of players.
Oh,
yeah. It was, I would say stronger back in Brood War. The Eastern Europe side of things were absolutely, they were super strong, man.
Yeah.
People like Braddock were, you know, like so strong in Brood War days. StarCraft 2, the scene is strong, but I don't think it's as dominant. You know, we have countries like Sweden do very well. Germany does very well. France is doing a lot better recently with Daishi and Todd coming up, and of course Stefano, the frontier of them all. But, you know, Russia looked down. It's down the list a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, you got Happy and you've got Titan are the 2 front guys that really represent Russia well. But apart from that, what kind of players do we have from Russia, really, that we see very often in Premier League like this?
Yeah, not too much. Noname's, I was about to say making a name for himself, but that would not exactly work out too well in terms of his name. He's trying to make an argument to be up there with Titan and Happy. And if he were to perform well here today, if he were to defeat MVP, no less, then he could make waves. He really could.
All right, and let me just stress how important and how much this means to MVP.
Yeah.
It means so much to be able to go to BlizzCon, because right now he's sitting in a comfortable position, 8th of the WCS ranking. If he does not advance from this round and does not get the opportunity to play live, I don't think he's top 16 by the end of Season 3.
No.
I know he won't be top 16. So he really needs it. He absolutely, really needs to advance from this.
It would be a total catastrophe for him if he does go out in this round. So now he's going to have to prepare against a player like Noname, who I imagine MVP doesn't really know much about. So he's going to be throwing out their generic builds, generic harassment, and that first window of harassment looks like it's going to be a bit of an airborne one.
Yeah, and I wonder, okay, so if you're a really smart player and you're really thinking deep of the game, you may be able to tell that was a gas first. Maybe. And the reason why is because as a gas first player, your barracks is later. There was only one Marine coming down, and it was coming down like a rally point.
Yeah.
And it was only one, and as a barracks first, not refinery, you have 2 Marines. And Noname is scouting around looking for a proxy factory here. I think that he is really picking up on this.
Yeah.
And the best part about the small nuisances in a mirror matchup is you just compare to yourself.
Of course.
You're like, I have 2 Marines out because I went barracks and then gas. And he only has one that looked like it was rallied out. This could mean gas first. And I think due to his scout so early on, he's picked up some very vital information.
Yeah, I like what you say about that, because in mirror matchups, it's one of the coolest things about them, because you know your race better than you know an opposing race. So you can really just time things out against what you're doing. You know the capabilities of your opponent, and it really does determine truly, apart from some random occurrences, who the better player is. And MVP here, well, he's going to try and scout, but those Marines are going to shut him down pretty quickly.
Yeah, and Noname, I really feel that he's just going to play with a Viking here.
Yeah.
Widowmine's in position. I really think he's got the feeling of this, just through such a small little detail. And with an SCV scout on the other side, he's going to go and be like, all right, I knew that what I saw was right. There is no expansion. This is gas first. This is defensive, or I must be defensive, sorry. This is aggression coming out from MVP as we see the medevac boosting across. How well will the defense be, though? Let's find out. Because he knows it's coming, but can he execute the defense?
Yeah, the Widowmine's about to pop, and it's going to the back here to try and defend against a Banshee, or initially that would be coming along. So his natural is going to be breached by the looks of things.
But all the
no
SCVs
enemies
from the natural are rallied to the main, apart from one that's there mining, so sadly.
This is a very cool move by Noname. It's rare you would see that rally point over here into the main base. The Widowmine does burrow. The one SCV evacuates out. And the second Widowmine's going to burrow here. That's a lot of Marines for Noname, though.
Oh, Widowmine didn't do anything there. But he's also saying, if you come down that ramp, my Widowmine's going to detonate on your Marine. So one Marine needs to go first, and it's going to dedicate his life to the team.
He has to sacrifice, and he does. And he kills off a Widowmine that doesn't burrow itself there in the end. So not too bad a pickup there for MVP.
Yeah, very good start here. And a scan goes down from MVP. And I'm not too sure what that... No, sorry. Through Noname, sorry. Looking for the mine. I thought that was MVP for a second. I'm like, I don't know why he's done that. But MVP is so far behind Claris. He's going for an all-in behind this too. Like, tank all-in.
Yeah.
I think he's saying to himself that in TVT, in Terran versus Terran, through build orders, you can sometimes have a better build order and win like that. Okay, sorry. His expansion's come down behind this. I didn't think he was going to. But Noname has a lead. Is the bottom line here.
This build from MVP seems very familiar to me. It feels kind of like what Maru was doing during... Who was he playing? He was playing someone at Season 2 Finals. No.
Oh.
But he was playing someone at Season 2 Finals and trying to make the Siege Tank... I think he was actually... Did he actually do it against Innovation?
Well, he crushed Innovation through all these type of builds.
Yeah, so this...
I mean, he played against... The only player I can think of is Innovation in the playoffs. And then maybe like Supernova in the round of 16.
Maybe it was someone, but I was thinking more to the Season 2 Finals.
Oh, Season Finals.
Yeah, sorry. But anyway, regardless, it doesn't matter right now. The thing that does matter is that Noname here, he has 2 siege tanks already set up at his natural, so he's going to be pretty fine against this. Whoa! Unless he sacrifices a medevac full of Marines.
Yeah, but Noname's already got tanks out very early. It's like the perfect defense against any all-in follow-up, any tank pressure follow-up. He's perfectly fine here with a turret in position, which will give sight to the Marines to shoot this Banshee. if it's close enough, this is fine.
Yeah, drops the scan here to try and pursue it, but he doesn't have...
Scan.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have the arsenal there to try and deal with that. An MVP behind this with a very quick third setup in location. This is a cool little contain from him.
Yeah, this is really nice from MVP saying that, well, I'm quite far behind, so let's try and risk this early third. It's very risky, and he's getting dropped at the same time. We'll have to deal with that.
And he does lose a Banshee in the process. Boosting on out is Noname, so a very good start for this player. Whoop. And he does get the Banshee in the end.
If Noname smells, has a hint, has a text message, has a buzzer beeping that there's a third base there, the game is over. Because he moves across the map and kills his opponent.
Yeah.
He's got way too much, but he doesn't know. And luckily for MVP, that's the case, but the Medivac will not see it.
No.
This is very good news for MVP. The longer this game goes on with that unspotted, the more the MVP gets back into this game.
He might see it on the retreat out here, though, because Noname's never going to stay there. Where are you going to go, Noname? He's going to go. He sees it. He sees it.
Yeah, he sees it. And now he's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is there. And for me, I'm in Noname's position. You're like, all right, let's have a look at the container outside my base. Let me break it. And then I'm going to go and put pressure on that third base. You can't just sit back and allow this to happen.
Yeah, certainly not. He's going to pull away with these Marines and the Medivac as well. So saving those, very important. MVP's looking for it with the Viking, but he's not going to find in the end. He actually has his third command center down in the main. But again, Noname's production in terms of how much he actually has out in terms of army is not that far ahead. But he could try and pressure. I mean, his opponent's stretched over a very, very wide location.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that he can just siege up on the third base and make sure that he can't mine from it while dropping in the main. It's just like a simple play for him to make. He moves out now and sees the MVP's gone because MVP's like, okay, he's going to come soon, man. He's found it. He's found it. Yep. So now MVP's going to try and spread himself across these bases. Stim is much, much earlier for Noname. It's a major advantage in any fight that happens. And Noname, the longer he waits for this, he's obviously waiting right now for his own Stim to complete, for Medivacs to join his main army, but he needs to go very soon. In the next 30 seconds, he has to go to do something towards his third base. Yeah. MVP will start to catch up. He will start to catch up.
Very much so. And eventually, if he does catch up for long enough, he's going to surpass here Noname. As that drop is going to head into the main base, but that missile turret's well set up for MVP. So we'll be able to kill that off. Oh, actually, no, he didn't get it in the end. That one Marine needs to come and kill that Medivac.
Yeah, well, MVP's expecting to defend his third base. There's a Widowmine gone into the main mineral line here. It isn't quite borrowed yet.
Oh, he just got the tech lab that had Stim on it.
Now, if this isn't the time to go, then I don't know what is.
Oh,
he's playing it so defensively right now. He's sitting back at this point. I mean, sure, it's hard to break tanks, right? Very, very difficult to break tanks, but if he's able to drop two Medivacs in the main base and then set up on the third to spread his... Think of it like a Protoss versus Terran game. There's definitely an opportunity here for Noname, but is he willing to take it? There's one we can clearly see, but at the moment, he doesn't want to take it. He doesn't want to go out.
Yeah, he's just going to sit back with his armory, his second engineering bay, and try and make this work. Hitting the no Stim timing will be so cool, I feel, for Noname, but...
Okay, here we go.
There we go. He's moving now.
All right, so I don't think... Maybe a frontal attack can work, but there's still combat shield. There's still a lot of tanks. It's a little bit more difficult to pull off if MVP's in position. But MVP, right now, has only 2 turrets defending his main base. It's completely naked.
Oh, wow.
I think a double attack here is the best way to approach this.
And Noname is playing, I would say, a very Russian style of TVT. Setting up that sentry tower as quickly as he has done that. Has shades of Happy and Cass. Oh, Cass not Russian, but written all over it.
Oh my God, what is this? He's loaded up everything. He's like, all right, well, I guess a double attack can work, but...
2 of those Medivacs are really low. He kills off the one that's really low super fast. Well, I don't... That was a huge risk.
Bit weird, yeah. That was a little bit weird. Both players are scanning each other here. Remember, Stim is done. No combat shields from Noname. That's one big thing he's forgot in this game. It's about to complete, though. MVP's in position again.
He can't go without combat shields, but he actually sends off forward to a lot of his Marines there. This is giving MVP the opportunity to tie things up pretty nicely.
Yeah, I mean, upgrades right now are a little bit ahead for Noname with 1-1, but he doesn't have 2-2 on the way yet, and hasn't started +2 attack. He can definitely start +2 attack.
Stim is 40 seconds from completion here for MVP, so eventually that's going to get up and running. He picks a few Marines up to try and save them, I think they're just filtering through.
Noname's missed a bit of an opportunity here to do a lot more damage than he could have, for sure. He's missed an opportunity. He's going to try and drop around the main now with 4 Medivacs full of units. Remember, there are only 2 turrets there. only 2 turrets.
Oh, but he has been spotted completely. In fact, one of the medevacs actually went down on its transition over here to try and help out. So Noname's going to try and make this happen. Siege tank sieges up. Actually, that's quite a lot of Marines.
And then Noname. Okay, Noname's finally going to pull off the move I described earlier. He's dropping in the main base, but he's also gone around to the third. This is nice. But he's losing a lot in the main. It was too late. Like, if he'd done it before Stim, but he's going to try to wrap around to the third base. MVP has a bunker and a single tank. That's not enough.
No, it really isn't here. Noname has the vision. He has the ability to kill off that siege tank very quickly.
If I'm MVP, man, I'm dropping on that army, I think. Look at it. It's naked. See?
There you go. MVP goes for it, trying to kill off what he can here. Noname is losing so much of his army right now. MVP taking a supply advantage, and behind this, he's just got so many Marines on the way to kill this off.
And I think now that MVP says, all right, I am doing well for myself, now I'm going to come kill you, because he has a lot of units.
Yeah. It's 92 army supply to 70 here. Noname's going to get a lot of these Marines.
He's going to lose his tanks.
Yeah, he's going to lose a lot. So much. Behind this, MVP's going to take a huge tank advantage and a huge Marine advantage as well.
Yeah, and this is where MVP's actually leading the game. So what we've seen from the very beginning of this game is Noname take a lead through defending the aggression early on, through brilliant information gathering and translating that into what he needs to do. But now, he didn't capitalize on that lead. He allowed MVP with a faster third base, and then with Noname being able to not do damage and lose units instead of gaining, is now in a position where he's playing from behind, and MVP's the player now that gets to call the shots. He's the guy that could drop on the third, drop in the main, attack wherever he wants.
Yeah, the army supply advantage, 25 up right now. 6 siege tanks to 4 with 44 Marines to 35. And Noname here needs to somehow solve this puzzle. But those siege tanks have sieged up so much quicker here than Noname's that get a good amount of volleys off very quickly for MVP, pushing in with Marines as well here. This 2-2 is slightly behind, but it doesn't really matter at this point.
And this game, there was no latency involved. It was just pure excellence from MVP, positioning, understanding, and execution. There was no need to micro-intensively, just get units in position, understand how to play this small game of chess, and he did it as MVP would.
But at the same time, I would have loved to have seen Noname go a little bit quicker. I think he felt that he couldn't as his, maybe, I don't know, maybe there was a macro slip back there. Maybe he just didn't fully equate what could have actually gone on. But that was a big, big window that he had the opportunity to try and do something with.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, he's now 1 game away from being knocked out, and MVP has the chance to go to the final match, to go for the revenge on Showtime. And we'll see if that can complete as we load into the next map, or at least get ready for the next map, should I say, which is going to be on Belshire Vestige, a map that's been played thousands and thousands of times, hundreds of times, well, maybe not hundreds, maybe tens of times in the WCS so far, lots of times.
Yeah, quite a lot of times. If you would say across the entirety of WCS, it will be breaching
all regions,
quite a lot.
It's hundreds.
Yeah, maybe. But you're right. It's been a very popular map for quite a while here, as we've quoted previously. So that will be our map of choice. I'm curious as to what our last map would be, actually. It would be Derelict. So if we do go to a full 3 maps, Derelict Watcher would be on the cards. But MVP, he's looking to win this guaranteed. And I would be very excited to see a rematch between Showtime and MVP, to see what MVP brought to the table.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that, I mean, there's nothing really else to describe from that game from Noname that I really do feel, I mean, if Coach Apollo had his coaching hat on and was able to provide, a bit of help, I really think that window, that chunk of the mid-game was, Noname's to control.
Yeah.
But he didn't do it. Therefore, MVP was allowed to get back in this game. And MVP is going to, if he's given a chance like that, he'll absolutely jump on the bandwagon to march forwards, and he did.
Certainly will. All right, Noname has joined the game here and saying go, go. So GLGL to these guys as we get into game number 2 between Noname and MVP. MVP currently 1 game up. And for Noname, everything just didn't go too right for him in game number 1. Can he sort out those issues here in game number 2? Because he's 1 map away from falling back down into his home for the past 2 seasons, which is Challenger.
Yeah, I mean, that would be 3 seasons in a row being in Challenger. That kind of sucks, right?
Yeah.
Especially because, it's all about the Premier League. That's where the big points are. That's where the money is. That's where the stream, the big stream where we're on right now, is as well. where you get to play, and then with the chance to move on to the round 16, everybody wants that.
They certainly do. All right, let's get into game number 2 here, guys, as we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner are Red Terran representing 3D Clan and Russia. He is Noname, not MVP. And spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner here as our Blue Terran representing Incredible Miracle. He is MVP. Should we do Noname again to do him justice? Can we do that? Yes, we can do that. All right, spawning up to the top left-hand corner, we have 3D Clans, Noname. Yeah, from Russia. Woohoo!
All right, Russia fighting. Russia fighting. But not too strong in today's group, unfortunately. As he lost 0-2 versus Vortex earlier on. If you missed that, it was rather one-sided. Vortex did just clean house. Now he's lost his first game against MVP, but I mean, if you put Noname and MVP against each other, I think everyone's going to predict a 2-0 for MVP no matter what world he's playing on, whether it be Mars or, you know, Pluto.
I wonder what the latency's like from there.
Yeah.
It'll still be better than Korea. But no, we jest. So anyway, MVP for now, he's deviating up. He's not going for gas first.
He's, playing one barracks, but what he may do here is play very defensive. I feel that one barracks command center is not the best build to do, so I feel that we may see a gas. It really depends on how he thinks his opponent's going to play and if he's willing to run the risk of going one barracks command center too. One barracks command center is a little bit risky. Gas first play, Banshee play, all these things. There's a lot of builds that beats it nowadays, and as we can see, both players kind of understanding how the game is played are going to take a later gas. Both of them set up relatively defensively with this gas timing.
Yep. And the SCV is just going to try and poke away here at the front, not going to get any scout off. Neither is Noname, but he knows MVP. He knows he has every build and every trick up his sleeve, so he's just scouting every single proxy location he could possibly think of right now.
Any proxy barracks to end the game fast, anything crazy. So he tries to scout it out, and in Sacrifice, scouting out these locations and finding nothing, as you say, will not get info inside the main base. But the fun part is for both of these players, despite not knowing it, they've both opened up the same build. They're both going defensive. They're both going to be well okay.
Yeah, with that gas now rolling in here so they can get those reactors or factories. And it is going to be the reactor straight away for both of these players here just to get everything constantly going. Oh, and MVP loses an SCV. Current characteristic.
Yeah, it just loses the SCV here. It's not a big deal, but it's one SCV difference between the two players. Which can add up to a little bit as the game goes on. But then I guess you can argue that losing one SCV, but MVP has a faster command center by a few seconds too. So
yeah,
you know, it really is nothing at the start of the game.
Completely fine here. The factory now on the way here for MVP. And even the factory on the way for Noname, who would have guessed. So very similar builds, very mirrored builds. Just Noname making sure that he's not going to get supply blocked a little bit quicker than everyone.
And one Marine trying to scout.
Whoop.
Oh, he got the full scout.
Nice.
Nah, that was a little bit sloppy from MVP. Shouldn't have let that happen. He saw the reactor, he saw the factory, he saw the command center. He knows exactly that he's playing against what he has. So he's feeling pretty happy. Yeah. We may see a fast third command center because he knows there's no early aggression coming. MVP's the player now that is in the dark and may, unfortunately, need to scan to be able to find out what's going on here because he has no idea. It could be a complete all-in. Could be Club Banshee. So what I feel that will come out probably in the next minute, roughly around 6:15, 6:30, is a scan from MVP. And he'll look to see if it's Cloak Banshee or not, because, as mentioned, he's in the dark. He's got no idea. And that's a luxury that Noname has in this game.
Yep. And now just heading on that second gas, whilst we've not seen a second gas from MVP just yet. So a bit more of a heavier gas investment for Noname to try and get out the composition that he so desires. And I don't mind that. I kind of like heavier gas builds from Terrans here. It opens up a lot of opportunities for him.
All right, well, right now both players are going to meet each other in the middle. MVP wins that because he's behind the forest or the trees. Is this the time where he scans? Because this is the time where most people scan. This is the very normal standard timer for MVP to scan inside the main base to see if he's playing against Cloak Banshee or not. But he's cooled down mules. So he's playing very risky. If there was a Cloak Banshee to come in, he does not have anything to deal with this. Yeah. Which is a little bit scary for him. It's a little bit risky. He's running the risk of losing a lot of SCVs here, but as we can see, as viewers that see everything, it is fine in this game.
Yeah, the Hellions are just going to get picked up and go straight across the map here for Noname to try and do a little bit of damage. But with Hellions gone, that opens up the opportunity for MVP to also try and pressure himself.
MVP could do so much damage here with 4 Hellions in the medivac. Drop inside the main base for MVP with 8 Marines and the Hellions on the natural. He could just straight out win the game.
Oh, but he's actually bringing the Hellions. Oh, no.
Yeah,
Okay,
he needs to defend with them. He actually can't be aggressive with them. He does not have enough. The Hellions are going to go crazy on the natural here.
We have 2 fast, 2 medevac going on down the side here. And all these Hellions are already in prime position to try and shut down some of these Marines. But still, there's quite a lot of them.
On the natural, look at this.
Uh-oh. Oh, those Marines are going to die off so quickly at the natural. Although that being said, the medevacs have to, the Hellions have taken a lot of damage. He cleans up the Marines in the main, and he just needs to somehow save a lot of SCVs here, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, this he didn't do as much damage. He didn't clean up the natural as fast as I thought he would do. He was attacking against a non-flatline Marine. They were all spread out, so he didn't kill them very fast. So at the end, he didn't do that much damage. Killing 6 SCVs is okay, but he did lose quite a lot there, but also killed quite a bit. So that is a bit of a lead from MVP through killing that. And extra factories.
Haha.
Gorgeous. You're gorgeous, you are.
Gorgeous, mate. Well, that's pretty impressive. We're going to see some mech play here from MVP. And what are you up to, Noname? We have the mech play from him as well. So, mech versus mech. TVT can always get fun from here.
With faster gas on Noname's side, so that will give him a bit of an edge here.
He took it far faster, in fact, than MVP, now that I think about it. But
and MVP's out of position for these 4 Hellions that could get dropped in his mineral line here. It's going to have to be very careful. This could very easily put the game definitely on Noname's side if they kill a lot.
Yeah, certainly.
It's unspotted. He's got no idea they're in there. Oh, dear. MVP could lose a lot of SCVs here, man.
Wow, yeah, this is going to be a bit scary for him. He needs to bring back those Hellions very, very quickly here to deal with this. But 5 workers have already gone down. Gets a 6th. Will he get any more? No, he just has to retreat out, but he didn't lose a single Hellion. Really good unit retention here by Noname.
Yes, and he killed quite a few there, and he is in the lead with the SCV count. But the problem is that MVP went for a 3rd command center, and he will easily catch up when it comes to the count of SCVs and his income. On the other hand, that Noname has additional factories and not a 3rd command center. So if Noname was to identify, because he doesn't really know exactly what his opponent's doing, he hasn't even scouted the natural once this game. If he's able to see this is a 3rd command center, he could definitely pressure it. He could put siege tanks on the 3rd base mineral line, could maybe come to the natural. There's a couple of things for him to mess around with.
A lot of Hellions moving out to the middle of the map for MVP, but that opens the floodgates for Noname to try and go for aggression himself, and there's nothing to defend this natural, so these Hellions could do quite a bit once again. He pulls the Hellions back, realizing that this is the case, and absolutely has to deal with that. No workers dead, so good reaction times by MVP.
And Noname sees everything now too. He saw the lack of gases on the natural. He feels very confident in his position because he's got a lot more tanks out than his opponent. So it depends on what he's going to do with this advantage. Does he just go ahead and play it out normal? But on 4 factories, that's a lot of production for 2 bases. He's got to be careful not to get supply blocked. He'll have to build some supply depots now, but he could hit a very powerful timing here against MVP.
Yeah, he could. There is always these little windows that Noname seems to be finding himself, but again, in a similar vein to game number 1, will he exploit it? Will he go for it? MVP, he's flying his 3rd base over to that location to start mining from it and adding on the armory in turn. Do we have an armory for Noname yet? Where is it?
No, not yet.
Huh, kind of surprised, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he's dedicated a lot of resources to a big army, and MVP sees that big army now with a great scan on the natural and the 3rd command center too. So he now knows that he needs to be set up very, very defensively.
Oh, he's actually going to greet this. He does have Blue Flame against his opponents that do not have Blue Flame. So that's a little boon in the side of MVP.
But he only has 2 tanks right now.
That's kind of scary against 8 tanks.
Yeah, that's the big thing here, because there was 4 factories from a very early stage compared to a 3rd command center, which is not going to get used at all. MVP must retreat. He needs to turtle up. But I don't think he can properly with so few tanks.
And Noname even has the air advantage here. He's going to push in from 2 sides. Those Hellions absolutely get disintegrated by the Blue Flame Hellions here of MVP. Those Hellions might be enough to actually soak up the damage here from Noname, and MVP's just going to take the victory.
Oh my. Oh no.
That was catastrophic. That was bad. GG.
Oh no. Oops.
Whoopsie daisies.
Sure, it's worth to poke around and see that there's only 2 tanks, but then there was 4 and then a 5th, and he walked into a siege tank line and just lost everything.
Yes, that was not that great. Poor Noname.
That was not the way you meant to play that.
No.
That's sure you look at it because you do have the air lead. You're like, all right, maybe
Yeah.
I can't break this, but let's go stop his third base and I'll get my third base because he had a third base on the way. He had a lot of SCVs, but
it was as if he wanted to just take it all there and then, but he lost it all.
That's a little bit unfortunate there for Noname. But MVP lives on to fight another day now and moves into the final match and will get that chance to have revenge against, well, I guess at least the revenge match. Whether he wins it or not, we'll find out against Showtime.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I'm going to really enjoy that because, again, MVP absolutely wants that revenge. And at the same time, Showtime, after that first series, he's probably just going to play his own stable game. Very curious to see what MVP is going to do.
Yeah, this is going to be super interesting because, you know, Showtime approached playing MVP first of all, very greedy, you know, double forge. And MVP didn't really know what to expect, but MVP's got a feeling of how this guy's been playing against him now. So this will definitely be an entertaining series for absolute sure.
Definitely will. All right, guys, we're going to go to a break as quickly as possible. And then when we're back, we are going to have MVP versus Showtime.